Welcome to the 5th episode of the Honor Society, covering all things Ring of Honor. As always, I'm Stephen Acefield, the ace of the Turnbuckle Tavern. I am joined by two guests, filling in for my usual co-host. These guys are just as skilled as Honor.
Yes, I'm good old Mike Belcaster of the Turnbuckle Tavern, as you guys all know. And obviously, there's too much beauty underneath me and Ace right now. I can't even speak the words.
Oh, well, guess what? Don't worry. I got the words for you. I'll freaking speak them, and I'll speak them into existence, because it is Nick Storm. That's a lightning bolt, a failed lightning bolt. It is I, the Australian icon, Nick freaking Storm, baby. I got the Hardy Boys pendant again. If you guys saw the Acefield Retro Dynamite review, you know I was rocking this bad boy to the moon. And I'm here, and I'm here to talk about Ring of Honor, and I love these episodes. I was on here last week, and these are just fun, man. Anything with Ace and Mike, dude, sign me up all fucking day. I'm here for it.
Same here, dude. I'm so pumped. But before we get into it, let's take care of the usual housekeeping so we can just start talking Ring of Honor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Turnbuckle Tavern. We continue to give out hours of free content, so those likes go a really long way. A subscription goes a really long way. And also, leave a review, 5 stars. If you screenshot it, send it to Mike Belcaster or myself, you will get a free sticker. So make sure you guys follow along. Some of the shows you have to watch us here, you can find myself and Mike Belcaster on pretty much all of them. Nick Storm as well. So we make up a lot of the tavern here. The fucking GCW show I filled in, a beautiful show. Fig Night on Tuesday, the Raw Down as well. Those frauds over there. Wednesday, the AEW wrap-up. And today, obviously, we have the Honor Society. We have to add on here as well, Mike Belcaster. Shot of nostalgia for Friday as well. So just a beautiful thing going on here in the tavern.
100%. You can't start your weekend without a shot of nostalgia.
And
out there.
The one thing I want to add to this, because I usually don't do this, and I just talk about this hypothetical merch that you guys have to find. I have something beautiful to share with you guys. So we finally have our merch here. Honor Society merch. You got the A shirt. I'm rocking that right now. And I think we just kind of made these our own, the knee pad down, hanging brain, because we talked about Minoru Suzuki wearing no knee pads, and then we've been suffering from good old HollerNet. So I think it's an Honor Society thing that HollerNet has. Hopefully we deal with no HollerNet tonight, and we actually are able to go through a full show, but no one dropping, because we have yet to do that in the first 4 weeks. But I also want to show you guys this as well. Get your Nick Storm shirt. I'm a Mike Belcaster guy. This is one of 2 different Belcaster shirts you can get. ProWrestlingTees.com/tavern. Support the tavern by buying some merch, guys. So that goes a really long way.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
All those t-shirt designs are so crisp and, ooh, man, gets me going, gets me rock solid. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, Mike, what was you saying?
I was going to say, I think we should compliment the Honor Society by starting this episode with a handshake of honor, gentlemen.
You're right.
That's what we do here.
This is good.
Right.
We do here.
So, I have one question for you guys before we get going and go on to our Ring of Honor stuff. I hear HollerNet all the time. What is it? Did Scott Steiner start a freaking an ISP? What's going on? What's HollerNet?
It's when you're just your internet shitting out on you, man. You got to holler at it. It hollers back. It cuts you down, takes you away from the fun, the enjoyment of hanging at the tavern. We don't need that kind of negativity in our life. I'm speaking to all internet service providers, all ISPs out there. Don't be
know you're listening.
Man.
Every single one.
Listen
up,
are,
all right?
Always.
They're big fans of the Honor Society, big fans of the tavern, of course.
I think the fact that we added the shirt here might keep it away. It's like, sort of like you don't say Beetlejuice's name 3 times or whatever it is. We show the shirt once. We don't show it 3 times. We will get through the show without any HollerNet issues, and I hope that's the case. But, guys, let's get into it. We have a lot to get into. Surprisingly, when I made this first run, when we were talking about earlier in the week, we only had 1 match to talk about. We have a few now. But what I really want to start with is the main reason you guys saw in the topic here. We got Dax Harwood taking on Cash Wheeler, our Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, facing each other off for the first time. And this was a dream match from the jump. I think people were really excited to see this. You guys reviewed it on the AEW wrap-up show last night, but I figure we're going to go into a little bit more minutia here. Nick Storm, what was your takeaway of that match and just your overall feeling of these two guys going at it?
Dude, you could tell from the moment the bell rang, there was no... obviously, going into this match had no rivalry to it because they're just, they're good friends, they're good mates, they're best friends. That's another tag team, but no, we're not talking about them today. FTR, they're going in this with pure emotion. This match wasn't about star ratings. It wasn't about wrestling. It wasn't about gimmicks. It was just about a pure emotion. And I'm pretty sure Dax Harwood took to Twitter and said something similar along those lines. It's just pure emotion, and that's all you felt out of this. Like, the back and forth between Dax and Cash was amazing. What I really liked about the match, it was really subtle. But like, if Dax would do like a cool maneuver or a reversal, Cash would smile, and vice versa. If Cash would do a cool reversal, Dax would smile and be like, oh, that's good. And it's cool seeing that little thing there. I just love this match. I think this was like the highlight of the night for me. Was this match? So I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the best thing about it is it lived up to the hype of two brothers going after each other, and that's exactly what it was. I've been friends with Stephen Walters, who is Cash Wheeler, and no gimmick infringement on that, but he's just a great fucking dude. Always has been. I wouldn't expect less from either guys. I thought they killed it. I thought it was one of the better moments of the entire evening. And like you said, the happiness between both of them, working spots together, those little moments. It was beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and they were calling this, and I know you guys said it on the AEW wrap-up show, and people were saying it all over the place. The flagship certainly said it as well if you guys listened today. This was a love letter to Bret and Owen Hart. And I want to show something here that literally was last minute. Nick Storm and I were in the room, 6:58. This came across my Twitter feed, and I want to share this video. And it's a 50-something second thing where they are going frame for frame the moves that Dax and Cash were using and Bret and Owen from WrestleMania 10. So check this out. So that was the last second edition. I felt like we had to show it. Shout out to Promo Joe on Twitter for that edition, and we'll give you credits. I'll put you in the link on the bottom so you get your just due, because whoever made that deserves just due. And the two guys, they did their homework. It wasn't just like, oh, I want to dress like Bret Hart and wear the pink and black. No, they have the playbook, and CM Punk is, you can give him credit as well. He did that Bret and Diesel finish all the way back with Wardlow. So there is a big nod and homage to history and an understanding that history is important. And Dax and Cash did a very beautiful job doing this, and they really paid a great tribute to two great men. So I was very, very impressed.
I love the bread and butter of throwing the Benoit spot in there, throwing the Kurt Hennig spot in there. Like, you could tell that these dudes not just love Bret Hart, but they love pro wrestling.
The razor even as well. There was a razor spot in there.
Oh, hell
the crossbody, going into the thing. It was great. Yeah.
It's a love letter to our fandom, man. And they're right there with us, but they get to perform it on a weekly basis. I fucking love that, dude.
And they are Ring of Honor champions, man. They are Ring of Honor tag team champions, and they are definitely representing the brand really well. And the reason why we talk about them here is obviously because they are the tag team champions, but I also think they represent what Ring of Honor should be. They haven't spent any time in Ring of Honor outside of the Tony Khan era. This was the first time they competed there. But what's so beautiful about FTR is it feels like they've been there forever. It's like they belong there. Ring of Honor was their long lost home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I have one thing to share on this as well. I saw on Twitter, like, you'll get the people in the IWC that just see whatever AEW is doing, and then they jump to hate on it. You know, I hate to bring this up a lot of the times. AEW Galaxy Joshua is saying this is hilarious.
Thank you for watching, Josh.
Yeah, but they're like, is this becoming too often? It's starting to become like a parody. I saw some people say they're completely wrong. Like every match that you watch is a tribute to another match that happened however many years ago. You know, like,
Yeah.
And people saying it's becoming a parody. I don't know if you guys have seen it as well. It's maybe just be a really subjective to my eyes only.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I guess, but no. But yeah, I'm seeing it like people are saying.
Well, Nick, just say his name. Here? Say his name. The OG Fig Kid was saying it last night on the AEW wrap up. He didn't like the fact that they were doing too much of a nod. And I understand if it's done in a cheesy and cliche way, but I think they do it in a very good, nuanced way where it doesn't feel like it's a complete ripoff. It feels like it's something new, but also it's paying a nod to the history. And I feel like that's the important distinction. It's not like they're just doing Bret Hart spots. If you know it, you're looking for it. But if not, it just exists on its own.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, like, you wouldn't have been able to like tell at all if you didn't see that side by side video, you know, that we just showed. You wouldn't, like, if you're just a casual fan just watching, like, you wouldn't be able to tell, and you wouldn't be able to comment, oh, this is just a tribute, a parody, wee, on Twitter. Not to diss Tom, because that's not who I saw it from at first, but again, like, it's strange, because like without that side by side, no one would be batting an eye. It's just another wrestling match. It's a good wrestling match too. So
yeah, I feel like if we're not in this business to pay homage to the people that laid the path before us, what are you doing? Going all the way back to CM Punk versus Darby, that was Punk versus, or that was Brett versus 1-2-3 Kid almost in a nutshell, but it was beautiful. And I, as somebody that has been watching since in 1954, I think that I love it, man. You hear cover songs that are better than the originals. That's what we're getting right now. We're getting some awesome covers that are fucking putting boots to the originals, and that's awesome, man. And it's both guys honoring their heroes. How can you not love that?
I'm not a top 40 radio guy at all, but just look at last summer. I think Elton John and Diplo did a song together where Elton John was in the top 10 in the United States Billboard charts. And that was, that is just doing a new remix for an audience that wasn't familiar with Elton John. All of a sudden they're dipping into the discography of Elton John. This is very similar. Maybe like, oh, wow, Brett and Owen were doing this. Let me go back and check out what they were doing. It's bridging the gap between past and present. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That's what, if you don't have the history of wrestling, you have nothing. Yeah. And that's what it's about. That's why it's so important for Tony Khan to bridge the gap for the past Ring of Honor fan and the current AEW fan and bring them together cohesively. And I think 100%. He's doing a beautiful job of that.
Yeah. Yep. No, I can feel the love tonight, is a smart one Elton John used to say. I know it's true. And like that even goes to like New Japan. I hope that they do that very well with this big New Japan show. I hope Ring of Honor's prominently spotlighted on this this New Japan show. How can you not be? Like, let's make it happen across the whole board. And I think Tony Khan is he's the Elon Musk of pro wrestling right now. He's buying shit out. He's like, no, we're gonna make it right. Fuck this. I love it. Yeah. I love all of it, and he's doing a great job so far.
So we can talk about this all day, and we certainly will talk about FTR when we get back to the news. But let's move on to the next portion here, and it is the announcement that we're going to be having the Undisputed Women's Championship, Deonna Perazo versus Mercedes Martinez on Dynamite next week. So give you guys a little backstory. Earlier this year, Deonna Perazo defeated former Ring of Honor Women's Champion Roxy in the main event of Impact to win the title. Due to a conflict in scheduling, Perazo was unable to defend the title at Supercard of Honor, and this led to AEW and ROH CEO Tony Khan to announce an interim Ring of Honor Women's Championship between Willow, Nightingale, and Mercedes Martinez at Supercard of Honor. And then what she was doing, and people were like wondering, because the Briscoes worked about 3 shows that night, why couldn't she do it? She was hosting a champ challenge at Impact's multiverse of matches on the same night while Martinez won the interim title. My question to you, Mike Belcaster, to start, who's walking out as the Undisputed Ring of Honor champion? And do you think Deonna Perazo has any trust from Tony Khan, because she kind of left him high and dry in a really big spot?
You know what? I would love to put over Mercedes Martinez because she's an unbelievable talent, but I think Perazo is going to claim it just because Tony's a sucker for history, and you have to kind of stick true to where you came in with it when you bought it. And I think what a better way to do it with the women's, like you obviously the Briscoes are a little more controversial on the table with everything, and you had to change titles off and make it, something big. Good call. But I think Perazo's got like, this is your shit or get off the pot moment. And I think she'll deliver. I'm a fan of both ladies. I expect a absolute banger out of them, but I think Perazo's going to come home with the title.
Nick Storm, what about you, my man?
I'm kind of on the same fence with Mike here. Like, I think Deonna Purrazzo's gonna bring the gold, bring the silver, bring all the belts home, right? But the thing is, like, if you remember the Supercard of Honor, everyone that had a title change was AEW talent, apart from the Bandito Gresham match, because obviously that was like a unification or just or unification. That's what it was. And I'm starting to think like maybe if Deonna Purrazzo was on that card, if Mercedes Martinez would have come away with the victory and the belt. But since that didn't happen, I'm kind of torn here. Like I'm not too sure, because I think Tony Khan definitely wants his new Ring of Honor to be his new Ring of Honor, I guess. That's what we're seeing. Wheeler Yuta is the pure champion, FTR the tag team champs. So this one I'm kind of torn on. I think I'm more leaning towards Deonna Purrazzo though.
It's funny how they announced it randomly, like it just like they showed the card. It's a pretty big deal that she's there, and they're opening up the relationship.
It was an Excalibur's rap.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy that like this was announced, and I was so excited because I knew we were coming on here today and talking about Ring of Honor. And like anytime they give us a little bit of news, I'm so pumped to get on here and talk to you guys about it. But I'm going to go the opposite way as you guys. I think Tony Khan is if I'm Tony Khan, if I'm putting myself in his shoes, I'm kind of angry about being left high and dry at Supercard of Honor, because that was a really big deal for her to be there. So I think going forward, Mercedes Martinez is going to be the person. Whether Deonna Purrazzo earns that trust back or not, I think Deonna Purrazzo has to earn it. But I think she's someone you want to build around. I think she's one of the more impressive women competitors in the world, bar none. But I think right now going forward, I think Mercedes Martinez is going to get the win here. And I think she's going to be going into the new Ring of Honor as champion because of the fact of what happened at Supercard of Honor, because she prioritized Impact over Ring of Honor and made him feel like, all right, well, you drew the line about what's important to you, because the Briscoes did the same night. They competed in the match, and then they went over to Impact, and they also went elsewhere. They competed at GCW that night as well.
Yeah.
So it was possible. I'm sure if Deonna would have came to Tony and said, hey, I need to go on second tonight because I have to get to Impact to compete, I'm sure he would have been like, all right, cool. We'll have you on the card. You can win the match or lose, whatever was going to go on, and then go on from there. I just don't think it wasn't a good look for her. And I'm not saying it was the wrong decision, because it's easy for me to say I'm going to wrestle two matches in one night, but the Briscoe kind of made her look bad. I mean, the Briscoes are superhuman, but it kind of made them look bad.
Did it how many matches? Like 4 or 5 that weekend, dude?
Yeah, they were all over the place. It was crazy. But also Martinez kind of debuted in AEW a few months beforehand. Yeah. We got a little history with her, so I'm not saying you're wrong. That easily could happen. But I don't know, man. Something about it. Tony's commitment to what Ring of Honor was, and should be in the future. I think he's got to go with that old school, and it's old school is a shitty term, but like the former women's champion. I think it would make sense, but who knows, man? I'm here for whatever the fuck happens, because
I'm just happy it's happening, because he could easily just put Ring of Honor on the shelf to collect dust for a bit until it's ready to go. But he's doing his best to keep it fresh, keep it in the front psyche of everybody. Yeah. And just like this next match here, you mentioned best friends earlier, the tag team. We have Samoa Joe versus Trenberetta, which the result, if you want to go find the Rampage result, it exists out there. I think we could all make a prediction about what's going to happen here, and I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Trent's going to take the dub.
we have the Ring of Honor World TV Championship being defended on Rampage tomorrow. Samoa Joe versus Trenberetta. So just to give you guys a little background, Joe will make his first defense of the Ring of Honor TV Championship after capturing from Minoru Suzuki, believe it or not, on April 13th. So it's been 2 weeks already on Dynamite. So I'll start with you, Nick Storm. Thoughts of, I think we can all agree Samoa Joe is winning this match, but what are you looking for in this match? Do you think it's important for Trenberetta to get his offense in, or just to make the title look strong, or do you want to make Samoa Joe look like a monster continuous?
Well, we've seen great singles matches with Trent pretty recently. I think he faced Nick Jackson, right? He got a win over Nick Jackson.
Yeah, he got a win. Yep.
I think, did he wrestle Jay White? I could be mistaken.
He did on Rampage as well. Yep.
Yeah. So he's definitely got his offense in against those kind of players, and then those are really like big stars as well in wrestling. So I have no doubt in my mind that Trent is gonna get a lot of offense in here, and I think this is gonna be a good match. I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people because Trent's kind of in that little section where best friends, where they're all seen as like a joke gimmick, right? And I think. Trent's gonna surprise a lot of people, but yeah, Samoa Joe obviously getting the dub, getting the victory royale if we're using Fortnite terms.
I like it.
But yeah, I think I'm very excited for this match though. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. And it's one of the reasons I'm watching Rampage. I mean, Rampage is something that's usually on in the background unless something piques my interest because of
you sound like
the
Nick
hour
the
it
comic
airs.
nerd here.
Yeah, exactly. Are we watching Rampage this week? But shout out to Nick the comic nerd, love you, man. But I think the biggest thing for this is Samoa Joe needs to continuously look strong, but you don't want to make the AEW roster look weak in the process. And the title needs to mean something. So having a quality match and bringing eyes to it and making people be like, wow, it was a great match. And, oh, the TV title was on the line. That's a good thing. And I think it's probably going to main event the show. And I think it's also going to open a lot of eyes to the Ring of Honor brand that haven't seen it yet. And I think that's the goal every time it's on the show. You're going to have the women's title on Dynamite and the TV title on Rampage. Spreading it all over the place is building awareness of the brand, and that's what you want to do and continue to keep it there in the people's brain.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, Samoa Joe needs to be booked like Samoa Joe. He is Godzilla. Yeah. He is the Godzilla of pro wrestling. Comes in, wrecks shop, tears the city apart, walks back to the water. It's done. But with that being said, I love the eyes on the product. Going all the way back to Battle for the Belts. That Dalton Castle match, it was so cool to see.
Beautiful. It was great.
For me, that somebody's been watching Ring of Honor for at least a little while. It hasn't been the exact whole tenure, but I've been poking in and out. Seeing Dalton Castle on national television made my heart explode, and
he fits like a glove. Like
yeah.
Like his persona, his entrance is made for TV, not for some fucking Sinclair thing at 3 a.m. on a Monday. You can't find it anywhere broadcasting. But like, if Tony Khan was gonna sign anyone from Ring of Honor, again, more signees, I would love to see Dalton Castle regularly. Like his character's amazing, but obviously Samoa Joe getting the boom, dude.
Build it. Yeah, build it up.
Yeah,
make it good. If anything's going to be prestigious, Samoa Joe's going to be behind it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a mid-card championship historically, and you put it on Joe, it's already raising the level there. I mean, right now,
doesn't feel like TNT,
the TNT title that's been bouncing around like a hot potato. Right now, the Ring of Honor TV title may feel a little bit more prestigious at the moment, and that just may be like by default at this moment, but it's a win for Ring of Honor, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing over here. We have the Briscoes in action. This was taped already, but this will air tomorrow. Actually, it aired on Tuesday on Fight TV. So the Briscoes lost to La Rebellion on Power for the NWA Tag Team Championships. Just want to make note of this. I'm not sure if either one of you guys caught this match, but the Briscoes are in action, keeping their brand alive. NWA Power. So maybe they're going to have a working relationship with Ring of Honor and AEW continuing. I guess when Ring of Honor has a TV show.
Yeah. Listen, what's their tag name? The Rebellion, La Rebellion.
La Rebellion. It's just they're just NWA workers that are there full time on the roster.
I know one of them. I've known him for a decade now. Mr. 450 under his Lucha moniker, but he's the guy in the Ghost white face paint.
Oh, cool.
You are talking about a hell of a match here. This might steal the weekend for whatever the fuck's going on. The Rebellion guys are top tier workers. Putting them up with the Briscoes is going to highlight that. It's going to make it fantastic. NWA love on my end. I don't watch regularly, but I do love what they're doing, and I hope that including the Briscoes and kind of partnering up with AEW, Ring of Honor, I want more of it. I want to see. I like the friendship between all the companies, and I think this is good for business. and also keeps the Briscoes in our vision, you know, no matter, even if you just see the graphic like you just shown, we're here experiencing it in real time. We don't know what's going on, but we're excited about it. I'm excited for more Briscoe stuff. They've been killing it in GCW. Of course, that match with Dax and Cash was top tier. One of the best matches, best tag matches, at least in the last 10 years. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, so just to clarify, guys, I believe the match happened on the 26th, but NWA Power, they aired on a delay, so the match itself says the 26th, but all full transparency, I have not watched Power in a bit. There's been a lot of wrestling, and Power has been one of those things that went on the back burner. But other thing, too, Ring of Honor alum, we have Homicide defending the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship against another Ring of Honor guy, Rhett Titus, as well. So they're all over the place. Ring of Honor staying active would be really cool, and we might see Homicide get involved in this Eddie Kingston feud on AEW. I have a feeling that might happen, but I would love to see Homicide make a return to Ring of Honor when it's up and full and running, because he is a legend. Yeah,
I love Homicide. Absolutely love Homicide. That graphic was like all the spooky tinglies of nostalgia. You know, I'm here for it, man.
Bill Cassidy, do you think he has a spot on a full-time Ring of Honor roster? Or do you think it would be a guy that just makes appearances?
I think he's got at least a good 2 years of a run, even if it's in a year. You know what I mean? I feel like he's obviously he's older. Obviously been around the block like a madman, but he still can go. He's great in the ring, awesome worker, always has been. Not so dramatic. You know, you don't get a lot of bullshit from him going on. Sam Bra. But yeah, no, I think that Homicide is one of the easier guys that any company could work with without getting any kind of backlash, especially nowadays. And he still puts on quality fucking matches, and you can put him in any program. I think it'd be great. I would love to see him with Kingston. I would love to see something like that teased. And
Homicide and Hernandez, it's going to happen versus the JAS. You know,
he showed up. He showed up, I think, in the late summer, early fall. So there is precedent, and the doorway's already been open. Homicide's been there. He was at Grand Slam. He appeared there, and people went nuts. And I was there in the building in Queens. So there is a place for him. I think Ring of Honor is the home for him. I'd rather see him there than get lost in the shuffle on AEW, because to me, Homicide is a main event level star that could be in Ring of Honor. I don't know if he fits the bill in a place like AEW. I think it's like you got to start to look at the roster and start to sort them out and say who would benefit from being on Ring of Honor, who would benefit from being on AEW. Yeah. And if I had to pick one place for Homicide, he has the track record already. He fits the bill of being in Ring of Honor. Why not put 100%. Him there? So,
yeah. You know what? You know what I think? If Homicide isn't on Ring of Honor, you know what I'd say you can't really see it. Brother, it stinks, but it's a photo of Tom.
Oh my God!
It stinks,
brother. It stinks,
brother. It stinks.
So we're gonna get into specific news stories. So let's get into the scoop, guys. Alrighty, so this is the scoop. So we talked about some of the matches and some of the main headlines, but the scoop are some of the finer details we want to get into in the news of the week. So let's start with our favorite tag team, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, FTR, and there is interest from WWE to bring them back. And they did an interview on Renee Paquette, which aired, I believe, today. I did not catch the whole video, but I did do a screen grab, which I will show you guys in a second, of some highlighted quotes. But the biggest quote they said was about WWE. Do they want us, or do they want AEW to not have us? So you guys, we heard a very long conversation on the flagship about FTR's place potentially in WWE if they were to go back, and I think that is a worst case scenario for wrestling fans. Yeah. But what are your ideas of, I guess, the idea that WWE wants them back? I guess, do you feel slighted as a fan, Nick Storm, that it takes them to build themselves up somewhere else for them to be like, hey, we kind of liked what you were doing?
Yeah. You know, it's the same thing with the Cody thing, right? It still kind of irks me. And I think the reason why WWE was so hell-bent on getting Cody and getting whatever he wants in his contract is because they're taking a major player away from AEW just because, you know, they don't want AEW to have them. So I think that's exactly it would be the case with WWE. You'd see them go for the tag title. There'd be one of the four teams in the tag division that are just circling for the belts. And I think that'd be it's like, I think maybe WWE's weakest point could be their tag division, just because there's such little teams there, and they're fighting for two separate titles on Raw and SmackDown.
So
And
watered
I think,
down.
yeah, it's super watered down, and the FTR, they're not going anywhere. You know, they're on hell of a run right now. They're literally on top of the wrestling world since even before Mania weekend. They've been on top of the world. You know, Dax had a singles match with CM Punk. I think that's really solidified it. And then, you know, we've seen it recently with Cass versus Dax just last night on Dynamite. Dude, they're having a hell of a time. No chance in hell, Vince, that they're going to get them. So
there's a lot of good quotes in here I wanted to unpack, but I'll show you guys the highlight video of things that they were said. I recommend that you guys watch the Renee Paquette full interview anytime they're on there. This will be the second time that they both were on there. The first being where Dax came a little bit open about his anxiety issues, and he talked about the beef he had with Shawn Michaels. So a really good listen. I fully expect this one to be very, very eye-opening as well. But let's check this out.
Place because they didn't put a focus on tag team wrestling, and we knew there was a ceiling to where we could go. We wanted to do more. We wanted to be known as the greatest tag team of all time, and we had to leave there to do that. But I told Tony, you know, because obviously he heard about it, I told him that there's no way that we would ever talk contracts with anybody while we were working for him.
Like, we took a huge gamble, but it's paid off. So
dividends,
right,
certainly.
We turned down, you know, quite a bit of money to bet on ourselves. We knew we could go out and prove that we're the greatest of all time. Tony has given us that opportunity right now. We're forever grateful for him for doing that to us, or for us. It's flattering, I guess, but there's a lot of things we have to think about.
All right, so that interview obviously is much longer. It's about an hour and a half long. I definitely will check it out, and maybe there'll be more quotable things. But I
should
pulled
have
a lot
played
of
the whole
different
hour and
quotes.
a half
exactly
interview on here.
Grab the popcorn. Let's go. Let's dig in. Dax will be sure to make us cry. I'm sure about it. But Bellcaster, what is your, I guess, initial thoughts? Do you think they're being genuine? I certainly feel they're being genuine about how they're saying that they're not even considering it right now.
Oh, 100% genuine. I mean, look at where they came from and where they were going with the direction of WWE and their booking, and, you know, slap some chains on them, some multicolored gear. See how good, like, what a slap in the face for two guys that really, really just love tag team wrestling. I don't know, man. Listen, money does talk, obviously, but I think that they're at a point where there was one quote from Dax where he was like, my grandma called me and she was like, how much money do you need? And he was like, you're right. He's like, I love doing what I'm doing. And like, at the end of the day, that's true. Like, you have to be happy no matter what the dollar amount is. You have to be happy wanting to do what you love to do. And I feel like WWE is not the place for them, because they almost put a lock on their leg and say you can only go so far, and we'll feed you, but like, you're not going to be free here. And like, no, I don't think that we need an FTR like that. I feel like they're going to be doing much better and bigger things outside of WWE than they ever could in WWE.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that way about a whole bunch of different opportunities that have come to mind. Even the GCW thing, the relationship outside of WWE is so much better. But another quote that I found in this interview, very eye-opening, and I guess shows the type of people that FTR really are, as not only competitors, but as human beings. They were talking about their match at Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor against the Briscoes, and what it really meant to them. And then this is what Dax said. I told Wheeler after the match was over, that was our Bret Austin. I don't know if we'll ever have a better match than that one, and that's okay with me. I can hang my hat on that. I can hang my hat on that whole week, them and the Bucks match, but specifically that match. I can hang my proverbial wrestling hat on that match. And then he continued, I was so proud about what we were able to do with those guys because of how long and how unsure it was building up to it, and the fact that we didn't know up until 2 weeks prior that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So the other thing he said too, and this was, I mean, this Dax guy has no shame about coming out there and being emotional and saying that he loves professional wrestling. There was an article that came out based off this specific interview with Renee Paquette, that Dax Harwood broke down in tears watching back the FTR match. And he said he was refusing to watch it because he didn't want to watch it in the wrong setting, because he wanted to relive it in the right way. So this is what he said. That's just what we built the match around. It was just fucking beautiful. I didn't want to watch it for 2 or 3 days. And then finally I was like, I'm going to watch it on the elliptical. I was in the gym and I broke down in tears while I was watching it. That's how much I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy loves professional wrestling. I got chills thinking about it, because they finally have the ability to show their creative genius, and they get the canvas from Tony Khan, whether it's an AEW or Ring of Honor, the opportunity to potentially go to Japan, working AAA, because their AAA championship. I think they're eventually going to Mexico and working that promotion. The point is that there's an understanding that these guys know exactly what it takes to be a great tag team, and they were stifled in WWE. They were not able to live to their full potential. And they may have made more money for whatever reason, but there is more to money. Eventually, you talk about these athletes as well in sports. How much money do you actually need if your happiness is being affected negatively by where you are? So they're obviously living comfortably. They're making loads of money. They're working every promotion. They're the hottest tag team in the world. In the last 15 years, they're single-handedly resurging tag team wrestling to a point that we have not seen it in my lifetime. I mean, you can go back to the Hardys, Edge, and Christian and Dudley's. That was probably the other peak for me. But this is different. This is Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express type of wrestling that my generation didn't get to experience. And I'm just so grateful to them for bringing to the forefront, because I am an absolute mark for tag team wrestling. And I say that in the most glowing terms possible.
Oh, no, 100%. And like, I don't know, man. That's the thing. Like, I somebody who was there for the Austin Brett match live in person, I feel when he says that, because it's like wrestling is those moments. It doesn't matter how good you are. You could be Ricochet, you could be Will Ospreay, you could be, Jonathan Gresham. It doesn't matter. But if you get those moments, those moments are what stands the test of time. Like, we still talk about Austin Brett. We still talk about Owen and Brett. What more can you want out of life than to be able to emulate your heroes and just be showing your love to them? And I love that shit, man. And they're good for them. Good for fucking them.
Just think about when they were probably sitting in the locker room when they were doing that back shaving stuff with Dax and I forget even what their name is. That's how great it's been. I forgot what they were called in WWE and NXT. But when they were doing that, and when they got squashed by DX and NWO, that whole thing was just brutal as well. Yeah. Like, sitting in the locker room after that, they had to be like, wow, you couldn't even dream this scenario up to what they're doing. And that's how, when you take a risk and double down and gamble on yourself because you know your abilities are there, I mean, the sky's the limit. And I'm just so happy for the two guys.
They're in talks of being the greatest tag team of all time. Like we're seeing it happen. Like, they want to go down as that. Well, they're getting their flowers, as Ace you like to say. They're getting their flowers, and they're getting them now, and I'm so happy for it. Before watching AEW, before watching real wrestling, I was just conditioned to WWE, and I for the longer matches, like the longer wrestling matches, I didn't really care for, like, at the start. Now I'm going back and actually enjoying them, because just like understanding the storytelling and just the pure emotion going into these matches, and how they're calling it and how they're playing it out. It's phenomenal to me, and I'm like blown away watching all these matches that my toxic mindset missed out on, previously. So
yeah,
that's the beautiful part, though. I mean, right now, not to plug Shot Nostalgia, but we're going back and watching wrestling that we took for granted as kids that just happened on a weekly basis. They were giving away main events on Nitro every single week.
Crazy match.
Just for a rating. And like the stuff we're seeing and the stuff we're going to be reviewing tomorrow on Shot Nostalgia, I mean, you got to sit tight for it, because every single week, I mean, Tony Khan's cut from that same cloth, where he's going out there and he's giving people what they want instead of making them chase this carrot and hoping they stick around for it. Like, let's keep disappointing them so that the bar gets lowered. Tony Khan keeps raising the bar, and a lot of times he gets hurt by that, because people get almost disappointed when it's not these crazy, extravagant surprises.
Yeah.
But that's how it should be, though, at this point.
No, absolutely. And that's another thing, too, though. Like, if FTR was to go back in WWE, like, you can't write a love letter like they did in 5 minutes TV time. like they just did this Wednesday with Owen and Brett.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I think
true.
they're too passionate. You know, that's like giving Picasso like just a number 2 pencil and an eraser. And it's like, good luck, kid. Like, you know, like you can't do that with them, man. And
Yeah.
they're just true gentlemen of the fucking love of sport and hustle of pro wrestling. I love them so much. I'm getting
all you need to know about Tony Khan and what they're doing in AEW is you see CM Punk come out of retirement, and because of how respectful and how tactfully they handled the Brody Lee situation, and not to mention Martha Hart, the Hart family had not been involved in wrestling, well, the Owen Hart side of things, for 20 plus years. Wanted nothing to do with Vince McMahon, wanted nothing to do with wrestling because it destroyed her life essentially because it took Owen's life. Yeah. And she trusts Tony Khan and the vision to pay respect. And also FTR. They're using the name Owen Hart and they're doing the things that he didn't. Maybe this is the first time that, you know, Owen's kids are seeing their dad's work in real time. And I think that's a beautiful thing as well. Like they can watch their dad on, you know, tape and DVD and Peacock or whatever, wherever his work lives. But in real time, you're seeing these guys who are larger than life being influenced by your dad. I mean, that's just a beautiful thing.
I've got one thing to add to that as well. It's like it took 20 fucking years for Owen Hart to be celebrated in the light that he is. And it took the trust of Martha Hart and the entire Hart family. And they trust TK. CM Punk trusts TK. Like, put like just in hindsight, think about that. Like this whole, you know, this whole AEW thing, look back at it in 10, 20 years, think about, holy shit, CM Punk came out of retirement for 7 years. Owen Hart hadn't been spoke about in the wrestling, kind of in a wrestling company as grand as now AEW. And I think it speaks to the art and the straight up films, the movies that Tony Khan's putting on week after week. You know, Scorsese mindset. That's what he has, and he's putting on absolute film week by week. So it's something really special, I think.
Yeah, we'll put a bookmark in that conversation because I think we can definitely continue it longer. And I love where we went with that conversation. But I want to bring up something else here in the news because Wheeler Yuta, our boy, was involved in an interview, and he's been a hot topic. He obviously was the hometown boy in Philly last night on Dynamite, got a huge ovation. That's a big pop, as the boys would say. So for him winning the Pure Championship was a chance for redemption. Yuta then shared a story about Bryan Danielson telling him that he was champion now, which meant a lot to him. So this is the quote. To be able to walk into Supercard, wrestle Josh Woods for the Pure Championship, it felt like it was my chance for redemption. To come out on top, to carry the torch really means a lot. Before that tournament, the last person who had that championship was Bryan Danielson. He retired that championship the first time. After that Moxley match, he takes the belt and he goes, "This used to be mine, but now it's yours." And then he straps it around me. That was after we went off the air, and that was almost as special to me as winning the title was. So this moment right here, you guys see it. Obviously, they emphasize the red in the picture and all that, but this moment for Yuta, I mean, it's larger than life. And I don't know, like you go back to his time working, you know, smaller promotions, and like think about where life takes you guys. Like it's a weird winding road, and that had to be just like the culmination of all his hard work. Like the bigger than any championship match, any accomplishment, you have Bryan Danielson in your ear saying like he's validating you. How cool!
It's too cool.
Yeah.
Kid definitely earned it. I love that moment for him. And like I said, you can't write a love letter in 5 minutes anywhere else. You know, that was magic, and it just keeps getting better and better. And I'm here. Yeah. I'm so happy they brought back the Pure Championship. That's something that was a big deal for me watching Ring of Honor back in the day, because it was like, holy shit, these guys are just out here.
It's my favorite thing about Ring of Honor, I think, is the Pure Championship.
Yeah, straight fucking wrestling. No bullshit in between. Doesn't matter what promos you cut. Doesn't matter when you get in the ring, you guys do the handshake. We're on. And I think Wheeler Yuta encompasses all that in his presence. I love it.
Dude, and the trust from Tony Khan. So, Nick, what are your thoughts on Wheeler Yuta and where he goes from here? Do you think he is a guy that you kind of strap the rocket to the brand, or kind of leave him where he is on the card?
I think he's where he is on the card right now is pretty comfortable, but I do see him putting on banger singles matches because he has him in him. Like, people were complaining that when he became a part of the Best Friends, we won't be able to see the Wheeler Yuta that we saw in the Indies. And I only knew of the Wheeler Yuta from the Best Friends, and when when he was doing more singles matches, I was like, I'm kind of not really interested. But like the pure the John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta match really changed my mind. Him winning the pure title really changed my mind a lot. And now he's like must see for me. Whenever I see Wheeler Yuta on the card, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this match probably once or twice by the end of the night. Like, you know what I mean? So I think he has some great singles matches in him. But it's like, yeah, I like the pure title, but it's it's obviously not the Ring of Honor title. So
Yeah.
it's always gonna be the mid carder because it's not that big kind of thing. But I don't know, man. I'd love to see him kind of defend it more often in AEW. I think that'd be cool. Maybe.
Yeah, he's still so young, so the future's so bright, and the rub he's getting from John Moxley and Bryan Danielson can't be duplicated in any way. The guy has done more in a one loss than many guys have with 25 wins, and it's about applying it after the fact, and he's been doing a really good job of keeping the momentum going. Because, the win is one thing, and getting over is one thing, and having the match with Moxley is another thing, but to continue it and to make people believe that you are the guy that they're presenting you as, I mean, he's doing a great job of it. He changed his whole perception overnight, and that's him. That's not just Moxley beating his ass and making him bleed. That's Wheeler Yuta coming out and now showing a different side of him and being like, dude, I can be this guy too. I'm not just this best friend lackey that's sitting at ringside in these colorful rainbow tights. I could be this badass, this a bona fide killer like Moxley and Danielson, and that's what they have on their hands now.
Yeah, and listen, the pop he got coming out with Regal the other day, it was like, wow,
yeah,
and like
That's a good pop.
That's a huge pop. It's awesome to see, like those moments again. I hate going back to it, but those moments are what make or break a character forever. If they would have did that and it flopped, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But I think it was so beautifully done. Like, it's a hard thing to do, man. It's really cool. I love it, man. I'm so pumped for the future of Wheeler Yuta. He's a baby.
As the two bad Chad say, he's the great Yuta, and we are looking forward to what the future holds.
Yes.
So the next thing we have here on the scoop, we have Jay Lethal headlining New Japan Strong. So he will be wrestling. Here's the graphic right here. He will be wrestling Ren Narita at Strong Style Evolve Series Conclude. It was taped on March 20th, so the result is already there. But it will be airing this weekend on the 30th, so that'll be Saturday. So this match will be awesome. Not much really to say about it aside from it's cool to see Jay Lethal spreading his wings and doing a little bit more than just being on the AEW roster. We see he's a main part of what the vision is for the new Ring of Honor. He's involved in a lot of what's going on with Joe and Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt and all that. But it's cool to see he's elsewhere as well. Obviously, this was taped a month ago.
Yeah.
But still very cool to see him out there. And again, Forbidden Door, # Forbidden Door. He's all over the place too.
Yeah, 100%. I've always been a big Jay Lethal supporter. He was always great in Ring of Honor, great in TNA, great back in Ring of Honor. Awesome when he debuted in AEW. Awesome when he went back to Ring of Honor again in this new relaunch. Like
heel, dude. I did not expect that. That was really cool.
Awesome pairing him with Sanjay Dutt. I thought that was like, it didn't mean anything at the moment, but like going through it and feeling more and more and more, it gets better and better. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And Lethal has always been a talented individual. So
absolutely. We talked about him. I think you guys talked about him on Fig Night with the TNA figures because he wasn't just doing the Black Machismo gimmick. He was given that by Macho Man. I didn't know that. So that's something you guys learn on Tuesday nights if you guys watch Fig Night. So please educate yourself, enjoy the toys, but also learn a little something while you're there.
Yeah, no, and listen.
Do you like figures?
Fig Night. Yeah, but it's true. It's one of those things like you forget things until you go back into it retrospectively, and like holding the figure, like it was one of those things like, oh yeah, Macho Man gave him the gimmick. Like even at All In, when they did the big thing, they had Lanny walk out to the ring with them. He was wearing the Macho Man Randy Savage coat, brother. Yeah, and I love it, man. Absolutely love it.
So other Ring of Honor guys in action or not in action. Last week on the Scoop, we talked, unfortunately, that Jonathan Gresham had gotten hurt at Battle of the Belts. He's in concussion protocol, so he was unable to go to Progress to defend the Progress Championship. He was supposed to be at Rebellion last weekend. to take on Eddie Edwards, which was sure to be a sick match, but unfortunately he was unable to make it, not cleared. Chris Bay replaced him. So I hope Jonathan Gresham gets well soon. Kind of alarming. They said he would have been fine by that time. He's not good yet. So I'm hoping he eventually gets to the point, because those concussion stuff, as we know, can be tricky. So I'm hoping that Gresham, first of all, takes care of himself and he gets well soon, because he is a huge piece of what we are covering here on the Honor Society. He is the guy. He is the absolute man, Ring of Honor World Champion, and we wish him the best. So I was looking forward to that match. Almost had me order Impact Rebellion. I didn't because he wasn't on it. So big game changer for me.
Yeah. Listen, Gresham's unbelievable, and it'd be a shame if something happened. So it's just like, we kind of want to take it with ease. Gresham's been on a run and a half lately, going, GCW, Impact, AEW, Ring of Honor.
He's coming to Australia in July, for my birthday. He's coming just for my birthday. No,
that's good.
Yes,
he's going to watch some Fig Night.
Yeah, he's doing shows in Australia, like when. I don't know. It's just cool. Not many people get to go to Australia and do shows because no one really comes here, because it's in the middle of freaking nowhere. It's on the other hemisphere, if you can believe it. But yeah, I'm a big Gresham guy. I think the first match I watched of his was the Pure Championship with Rhett Titus. This might have been last year sometime. But dude, yeah, that was my first kind of showing of Jonathan Gresham, and I'm just here all for him now. So. I love him to bits.
Gresham is of the mindset of the independent wrestler that wants to make all these dates. And I think now that he's officially with AEW and the Ring of Honor umbrella, where he's getting consistent paycheck, maybe he needs to slow down a little bit and just take it easy and just, all right, make your dates, heal up, wrestle the big matches. You've earned it. I mean, at this point, he's done the dates. He's been in all these places. Obviously, he wants to live up to the commitments, like the show you talked about, Nick, in Australia. He will make those dates, and I'm sure that's the guy that's inside of him. He wants to make all these crazy dates and work 4 or 5 times a week, because that's what he was doing. If you look at some of his schedule, he is all over the place and putting on banger matches.
He's doing WWE house shows when you think about it. 5 days a week.
Yeah. So he was supposed to be at House of Glory when I saw, but he was battling COVID as well. So it's been a weird year for him, but a really good year, in fact, because he's on national television for the first time ever. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that truly blossoms under the new Ring of Honor. I really believe that, because he is a transcendent star. I just think people are not even aware of it yet, about the amount of things he can accomplish in the wrestling business. He hasn't had the platform yet, and this is going to be that platform.
100%.
All right, next story. We got a lot of news here, guys. So we also have the name of the new AEW game. This is not the cover. It's called Fight Forever. And why am I bringing this up? Because we're not AEW. But Fight Forever is a chant that started in Ring of Honor on March 31st, 2006, in the latter stages of a Dragon Gate 6-man tag team match on the Supercard of Honor show, with Sema Masato Yoshino, Naruki Doi versus Dragon Kid, and Saito and Genki Horiguchi, which was a really cool chant at the time. Some people say it's probably a little bit overused now, but very cool nod to Ring of Honor, subtle nuance nod to it, paying a good tribute. Chant originated in Ring of Honor. A lot of good chants originated in Ring of Honor. I want to go back to it. I want to go back to it. What do you say?
Good night, dude. I had no clue about that, that it started then. That's cool to know. Look, so I'm learning. You learn stuff on Figna. I learn stuff here on the Honor Society.
So we talked about quotes. We had Nicole Bellcaster in here saying Joe's going to kill you. That originated in Ring of Honor. A lot of good chants. And then you're going to get your fucking head kicked in by Bryan Danielson. That originated there. So with passionate fan bases, unique chants do tend to rise up, and fan involvement to me is just as important as what's going on in the ring. And Fight Forever is 100%. One of those chants that I think will live forever. I mean, we hear it a lot. We've heard it in dribs and drabs in WWE, but pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. When you hear it in WWE, I don't think they really mean it. I think they want them to actually start fighting in the middle of their match.
So we have our final story here on the scoop, and this has been a nice, eventful scoop we had for you guys. So I don't have the audio for it, but Khan was on Barstool Sports. I think he has a weekly spot on wrestling now.
I think he does.
I forget the guy's name, but I think he's there every week now doing a show with him, who so badly wants to be Zach Galifianakis on Between Two Ferns. Like, I don't know if you guys get the same vibe from him.
I that's why I kind of I love Brandon Walker for that reason.
That's who it is.
Yeah. He's so fun. I love wrestling so much. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's essentially that he was on there on his weekly spot. I guess we'll call it that now. And he was asked point blank, when do you think we're going to see Danielson and Punk wrestle in AEW or potentially in Ring of Honor? And he had this to say. I also want to show this picture of Bryan Danielson and CM Punk going at it. So he said, I would love to see them lock up at some point in AEW. In Ring of Honor, I think we'll have to wait and see. There may be a time where it would make sense for them to come. We have a lot of great stars in ROH and AEW, so I couldn't promise that. There may be a day where it would make sense for all the stars of AEW and all the stars of Ring of Honor to come together as one and have a big event. We'll see when the time arises, and we'll see if Punk and Danielson on every show. At some point, it might make sense. So, I mean, obviously, a lot of just lip service by Tony Khan saying the right thing, but has me jarring the brain a little bit. I want to see Danielson and Punk in some capacity.
Yeah.
It has me really jonesing for them to do it on a Ring of Honor stage. I mean, we're going to get it in AEW eventually. You have to think, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen this match a couple times in WWE and also in Ring of Honor. I think the best is out there. Their best match is probably out there. We haven't seen it yet, and that's saying a lot because the two of them have had some really amazing matches.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the first time they fought in WWE in the Code of Honor handshake. And like the little kid in me was like, ooh, like it's like, yay, they did the thing.
Yeah, in this picture with the WrestleMania sign behind it. I think it was WrestleMania 24. I think it was 24 behind them.
Yeah, I mean, how can we not want to see it? Who in the world does not want to see Punk and Danielson one more time?
I would have thought that it would have happened. They would have crossed paths, just kind of by chance in the Owen Hart tournament. You know, I thought, but I think CM Punk said on commentary that he wanted to be in the Owen Hart tournament, but he's not, and so Dax, that was on commentary last night for Dynamite in the Dax and Cash match. So yeah, I thought that would have happened there at some point, maybe, if anything. But like, because that just has a reason to just be a match with no build, just because obviously it's a tournament. So I think that would have been perfect for it.
Yeah.
But dude, on a Ring of Honor stage, they're gonna do it for sure. Like because they have no reason not to now. They have every means to do it. Not every means, but they have the means to do it. And it's entirely possible. So yeah. I guess we just wait and see now.
Yeah, we've got to wait and see. And I think Ring of Honor, the stage is set for them. I think it's a matter of if they get a TV deal that's pleasing to the guys that, the stars that are there. I can't imagine Tony Khan will ever sign off on getting a deal that isn't a big deal. He's not going to wind up being on YouTube or being on a place. My guess, if I had to make conjecture, and I know it's hard to do, but like a place like HBO Max or Paramount Plus would make a lot of sense because you may have that cable option where you can have these guys on whatever old school type of cable, but also have the streaming option to throw that library somewhere, whether it be the AEW library as well to get the initial flow of people in there and then bring over that Ring of Honor library all the way back. Because right now on the Ring of Honor subscription service, as Kevin Owens made it quite clear, because he was a subscriber to it, you can't go back and watch matches before 2012. So what's the point of that? Like, what's the point? You need to have your full history or none at all.
No, 100%. You can't. I mean, that's history, right? You can't have you can't build a future historicals without having that past history. It makes the whole difference, and the streaming platform only makes sense for both companies at this point. I mean, why not put them together? Why not make it a whole ass thing instead of separating it and make it harder? I think we've had a lot of really important moments throughout AEW so far, including those pandemic shows. There was a lot of really big shit that happened during those. And then also, I mean, Ring of Honor, obviously, you have everybody who's a fucking wrestler now started at Ring of Honor, basically. So it's like, you can't ignore it. You have to, it's got to be there.
Yeah, lost in all of this, too. We're talking about Ring of Honor being relaunched, but on a financial side of it, you look at Ring of Honor as an entity, you have backlog content that you can't replicate anywhere else. AEW has its history right now, started a couple of years ago at this point, so they have a lot of shows, a lot of good events. I mean, a show I want to watch is the Brody Lee Tribute Show. It's hard to find. You can't find it right now. But on top of that, for people that don't really care about the wrestling history, they just want content. They want things that they can throw on there.
Yep.
And part of the appeal of WWE selling that network to NBC was the huge array of things you can watch. And they don't care that you have WCW Worldwide. It's just hours of content to them. But you just triple, quadruple, even, multiply it by any number you want with the Ring of Honor content, because they have, their inception was 20-something plus years ago, events that they were doing taped on a weekly basis, and then those big events. I think it's important to start a streaming service. A person that wants to get in the wrestling streaming business, it's the perfect thing to pair it to, because you're gonna combine the people that want the live content, then also go back and be able to experience the matches that, like the matches we're talking about during honorable mentions. We have to search Daily Motion for them. They just exist on the internet until they get taken down. It's sort of one of those things. It's like living in the archaic era of wrestling where you have to go back and watch matches in an illegal fashion. Like, you should have it at your fingertips. I think accessibility is the key to success. And I think that is what Tony Khan has to think about before he makes a deal. And I think he has that in mind. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't, but yeah.
Listen, and that's how you build the future too, because they have that library to go back and watch and study. And it's just important,
Yeah. And hey, Mike too sorry. Fuck. Sorry, I'm about to... Fuck. Sorry. But, would you want to see, because it's on? People are thinking HBO Max, right? Is going to be the new streaming kind of shindig for AEW Ring of Honor. Do you think that's where the money is? That's where the bread is?
I mean, if HBO home box office is willing to pay those kind of prices to make it enticing, why not? I still think a separate entity is not a bad idea. Like how the network started, WWE Network, but it was like we had so much content in the middle of our hands. It was well done. They had checkpoints. So if you threw on a SummerSlam 1998, you were able to find the match you were looking for. It was like, this is what I remember, and they don't do that anymore. That's a big downfall with them partnering with Peacock, is that whole interface that they built kind of fell to the wayside.
I still have the network, thank God. But like, another thing that kind of annoys me about the network is if you watch a Raw from, let's say, 2006 or something, it goes to next week Raw instead of the SmackDown or the pay-per-view that comes after that Raw. You know what I mean? So I think they need to take that into account. I think they probably do. I know TK, he's a fan of the product. He knows what's good and what's not, and what could be fixed and what could be better. And so I think he'll definitely get to it. Ace, what do you think about the whole thing?
I just think a big deal with the streaming, the accessibility, the interface has to be pleasing. Like, Peacock is not. It's to me, any interface, whether it be on your phone or on PS4 is what I use it on. It sucks. It really does, because sometimes it has the errors, like Mike, you alluded to before. You have those checkpoints, and you can say, I want to watch this match. They used to have these time marks where you're able to find the things you want to watch and skip to it. And then the ads too. I mean, I bought the premium version of Peacock, but for the lower tier, it's littered with ads. Like, it's almost impossible to watch. So you have to almost step up.
Wait, there's different tiers?
Yeah. So they do
That's
this.
so shit, man.
They do this with Hulu. They do it with, I don't know if they do it with Netflix, but they also do it with like YouTube too as well. So there's like a lower tier of ads as well. So the ads on Peacock are just absolutely brutal. As we get Nick the Comic Nerd in here, he's saying that as well. Yeah, they are freaking
What's up,
brutal.
Nick?
So this is, to me, it's not, I mean, the content's one thing, but you have to have it accessible, because you'll get people to be frustrated and never want to go on the app ever again. I mean, to compare it to something, New Japan World is almost impossible to access. You have to really know what you're doing. I can't imagine someone who's not technology.
Dude, I'm trying to find New Japan. Like, I can't.
I can walk you through it. It's not that bad.
God.
It shouldn't be that way. Like, I have the fortitude to sit it through, and you do as well, because you want to watch it. But someone's like, oh, I'm looking to watch, like, an old Shinsuke Nakamura match, and it doesn't work the first time. They're giving up, and they're never coming back. So it's important for people, for Ring of Honor, they want to watch an old Kevin Steen match, or they want to watch an old AJ Styles match. It better work, and it better be easy to find, because, the old network, too, you'd be able to search for names, and then their whole catalog would just come up. It would have been amazing. And you could create playlists on the network. You can't do that. I loved it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And like New Japan, it took a minute to get into, but once you figure it out, it's like, It's like you're walking through the park. You just got to figure out the path to go on, and you get the right direction.
I know, but then
still,
you shoehorn yourself into it. Like the people, like I can't imagine like
it's still a
someone
pain in the ass.
my parents' age trying to do it. Like they have trouble with normal technology, and wrestling fans aren't just age 18 to 30. Like there are some older wrestling fans that you do want to get their money too, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing. It's a double-sided sword, man.
Yeah. And I have one word, or I have two words to say to Peacock. If you're listening right now, you know what, Peacock? Fucking suck it, dude. Shit. Change your ways, man. Jesus. Yes. I still have the network, thank God. So I can't even imagine like. And you have to get the premium Peacock to not get ads. I'm fired up. This is a shoot. Man.
So on that note, that is the scoop, guys. That was a really good scoop. We had a lot of news to go through. Let's move on to top honors.
Top honors.
So this segment of the show will be segmented for Ring of Honor Television. We're going to be talking about the best match of the week. But unfortunately, right now we don't have Ring of Honor Television, so I have to pick a certain thing to talk about and change the question a bit. Just when you think you have the answers, I change the questions. And my question for you guys, and I'll start with you, Nick Storm. Who do you think looked better? Obviously, we know who won the match, but who looked better, Dax or Cash? Who are you more impressed with?
Honestly, Cash. I knew going into it, I think Dax was going to win. But having that in my brain and expecting Dax to win, I didn't expect a lot of the stuff that I saw from Cash, which I think was pretty cool. Although the Dax stuff with like the thumb in the eye, trying to get Cash riled up. If you listen to the flagship, they talked about like, you know, getting each other riled up to get that fire in them. And I think Cash definitely brought it. And for this one, it was kind of equal to me. But I think Cash a little bit more, just because I wasn't expecting everything that I did see from him. So yeah, Mr.
Bellcaster, what do you have to say about that?
I have a biased opinion because I know Cash, so I'm going with Dax because I've seen Cash do some great work outside of just any big promotion. So Dax actually surprised me a lot. I was torn on who was going to win. I was happy to see that Dax kind of pulled it off, but I would have been pumped either way. But I think I don't know. They both just seem so well tuned. This is a fucking tough question.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Dax just because he deserves a win on my end after all these years of giving it to Cash. So
yeah, I think a big thing with this match too was going in, there's no pre-established guy who was slotted to be the main guy in the team. And I think some of the best teams, if you go through the history of wrestling, think about the Legion of Doom. Who was the guy, Animal or Hawk? They were both the guy. Think about the Midnight Express. Both of those guys were the guy. I mean, some of the best tag teams have that. And the tag teams that weren't long for this world, like the Rockers, are considered like good in a vacuum.
Yeah,
Shawn Michaels was clearly the main event guy that they were grooming to be that guy. And Jannetty had his run. If he didn't have his struggles and didn't become, I guess, a trash human being, we would have had, I guess, more of a Marty Jannetty, maybe even a world title run. Who knows? That's another debate we could potentially have because he had the skills, I guess. But my point being is that the best tag teams are considered equals and they work as a tandem. I would say, and I know I'm beating around the bush with this question, I want to say I was impressed with Dax mostly because he kind of built on that match he had with Punk to open the show. And I didn't know he had not only stamina to work a long match with a faster pace, because you got to remember these tag matches, you're able to work a super sprint type of pace and then you tag out and then you can catch your breath and go back in. Dax was unable to do that. And it was kind of funny watching Cash at the end of the match. He was breathing super heavy at the end, and he seems like he wasn't ready to do this. And they had said this was the first time he wrestled a singles match in AEW, I think, but in a very long time. Dax has had a little bit more of a singles run in him, but I thought Dax looked like the guy in the match. I don't know. I felt like he kind of established himself as the Bret Hart, if you will, in the match. And they both play their own roles, and that's not to say Owen Hart is lesser than Bret Hart, but we always knew Bret Hart was a little bit above Owen as far as stature, I guess, in the standings of WWE and lore. But I thought Dax represented Bret really well here. And I think that's the highest compliment you could pay him.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%, yeah.
Oh my God, you're 100% right. I'm making a point here about tag teams. And Mario Jannetty, when he was wrestling Shawn Michaels, for the IC title, good match. Go back and watch it. Really good match.
Yeah.
I mean, take away the fact that he became a trash human being and then absolute horrible wrestler because he didn't take care of himself. But even go back to 05, he came back into WWE during the Kurt Angle Shawn Michaels feud. So we saw way too much Mario Jannetty. My point being is that the best tag teams have a non-established main event star already predetermined.
Yeah, no, and that makes for great storytelling and good, just good rivalry and good team good partnership.
I heard on the flagship, Hawk was saying that he didn't care for it because there was no built-in feud. Like there doesn't have to be. It's just the story itself was the fact that these guys are only wrestling each other because they happen to be facing off in a tournament against each other. It would never happen other way.
Just for the fact of getting mad. Like he just
he's the Marty Jannetty of the tavern.
I think that's the shirt. That is the shirt.
Hoochie Jannetty. Yeah. I don't know, man. I thought it was beautifully done. Both men stood out great, but I think Dax just had that extra oomph.
Looks like we're giving Dax top honors this week. Let's move on to honorable mentions, which is my favorite part of the show. There are a lot of fun parts of the show, but this is where we talk about matches that we recommend. So do your homework, abide by the code of honor, guys.
I was clapping.
So
wait,
every
Mike,
week
before I shake Mike's hand real quick, I just want Mike, you ready? All right.
Go.
Oh.
Is that Minoru Suzuki in there?
That was Suzuki slap. Ooh, right on the nipple.
I aimed for the nipple, so I hope you don't stream any more milk out of that for the foreseeable future. So
every week in alignment with the history of Ring of Honor, we will recommend one match for viewers to check out. So I believe I have all the matches we have on here. Let me just check on here to see if we do. I do not, unfortunately, but you guys can check the Discord. I posted in the Honor Society channel. You guys can check out all the matches we have recommended in the past. So let's start with you, Nick Storm. What match do you recommend, and why did you choose it?
So I don't know. I haven't seen that many Ring of Honor matches, but going back and knowing the Ring of Honor matches that I have seen, and we were talking about this before, but it's something to do with the Pure Championship. I'm a big fan of these rules because it's so like nuanced, like compared to just a normal regular wrestling match. Like it actually has set rules. There's a 20 count. There's only 3 rope breaks, and then after that, anything's fair game. And I went with CM Punk versus AJ Styles for the Pure Championship Finals at the Ring of Honor 2nd anniversary show. It was Valentine's Day, February 14, 2004, and it's just a great freaking match, man. Like, it's free on YouTube if you guys want to watch it. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of great reversals as well. There's one reversal with the Styles Clash that is just freaking beautiful. And this is Pepsi Plunge era of CM Punk. So
yeah,
it was it's pretty fun, and spike DDTs all around. It's great. And obviously AJ going on to win that match and becoming the first pure Ring of Honor champion. I'm not even pronouncing my R's today. I don't know what's happening. Ring of Honor champion. But yeah, I love this match. I don't think it's talked about enough. Maybe it is in Ring of Honor history, but yeah, it's a great freaking match. It's a dream match nowadays. Some people might say I'd love to see CM Punk in the ring with AJ Styles, and might not be aware that it happened in 2004 and a lot of times like before and after that. So yeah, I like this match a lot.
Like it.
Very, very good choice. Well, I'll make sure to pop that if you can find the link, put it in the Discord so people can check it out.
Sure,
Maybe we'll even do a watch party with it. I've been posting. I did that whole playlist of Ring of Honor. If you guys ever hop on the Discord at any time, they might be wrestling streaming. So yeah, this is the 3 of us usually are in there, so doing a lot of streaming. So we do play a lot of Ring of Honor in there. We did some Impact last week in honor of Fig Night. So a lot of good stuff going on there. But without further ado, Mike Belcaster, what is the honorable mention that you would like to present to everybody for Match of the Week?
So I was looking at the list, and I see a lot of old school matches. We get a lot of Punk, a lot of Danielson up there, but this one's a little more recent, and I'm going to Supercard of Honor 11, which was Saturday, April 1st, 2017, and this is an awesome ladder match between the Hardy Boys and the Young Bucks.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
And the best part about it, this was the last stint of the Hardys on the indie scene before the next day they debuted at WrestleMania. And everybody kind of knew it, so there was this big hype around it. And I think Vince even told the Bucks, don't let them get hurt during this match, because it was important that they needed to be on WrestleMania. But it was astonishing how good the match was. And these two guys were on their way out. Bucks were kind of carrying that tag division there. It's pre AEW, right before AEW. I think this was the last Supercard before AEW was the thing, right? So
maybe one more year.
Might have been one
close.
more. Yeah. But it was awesome, and talk about really tag team wrestling, because that's kind of the theme right now, especially with
fucking
tonight.
Jeff Hardy taking table spots off ladders at that dude, this match was fucking awesome. Great mention, dude. So,
yeah, I think Nick Jackson blew his back out really fucking bad during this match too, where he's still feeling it to this day. It was good wrestling, awesome time, an absolute blast. So I highly recommend Saturday, April 1st, 2017, Supercard of Honor 11. Go check that shit out.
Yeah, one of the highlights of WrestleMania weekend that isn't WWE in recent history, and we talked about on the inaugural episode here, where we talked about Tony Khan being, I guess, held accountable by TNT for having Supercard of Honor airing against his own product, and we may have got the Texas Death Match because of that reason on Rampage. But part of Ring of Honor's legacy is working WrestleMania weekend, and because of matches like the one you just mentioned, that weekend special for Ring of Honor. And I would be amiss to say I don't think Tony Khan wouldn't want to work that weekend, because I think it's just as important that he does put it aside. Maybe you have to move Rampage for that week if you're going to be working on Friday or something. Or work on Saturday, do something, because I think Ring of Honor has a place at WrestleMania weekend, just as all these other promotions do. It's a tough spot for him to be in, because he said when he first opened AEW that he didn't want to infringe on a pre-established weekend. He wanted to establish himself as an entity and have people come out to his weekend. And we're seeing that Double or Nothing and All Out have become destination tourist attractions for wrestling fans, similar to WrestleMania weekend. But I think Ring of Honor, the exception has to be made, because you want to respect history and pay homage to what goes on with Ring of Honor's legacy. You can't not have Ring of Honor's legacy without WrestleMania weekend, and that match, plays a huge part of the history. Yeah, so great choice, by the way. Great match, and it's crazy to think the Hardys were working at Ring of Honor and Vince signed off on it. I mean, not that he really had a choice, because you want the Hardys, you're going to get the full package. Yeah. But that was the tail end for me of the Hardys, one of their best runs. They were, you want to talk about FTR catching fire and they had full control over the wrestling world, as everyone was talking about them as the hottest free agents, and they wanted to book them in their territory or promotion. That was the Hardys in 2017. And they eventually wound up in WWE and got their payday and got their flowers, and they went there, and I think it was a great moment. It lives forever at WrestleMania. That huge pop that they got will live forever. But part of me wonders what happens if they didn't waste the next couple of years in WWE, because eventually it went south, as it usually does. They started to waste them, and then they started jobbing out the teams, and they got lost in the shuffle. And then eventually Matt wound up going to AEW. And I think, a larger conversation is WWE is selling out for just these moments, these quick fix moments where let's just get a pop, get them in, get them out. And I'm hoping for Cody's sake it's not like that. But history shows that sometimes, they don't have long-term plans in place. They just they want the moment for, social media buzz, or just a good moment to make fans feel good. But what's the long-term plans? I think that's the diametrical difference between Tony Khan and Vince McMahon. Tony's thinking long game. Vince is thinking what gets the immediate buzz. But in the long run, I'd rather have the long-term storytelling and make me get something that feels worth it. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go with my match here. So I have Ring of Honor Showdown in the Sun, Day 2, Davey Richards, who I picked last week, versus Michael Elgin, which is a really awesome match. I have the card right here. Let me find the picture of the match. And this match is from 3/31/12, so just about exactly 10 years ago. There wasn't
Baby
a
Richards.
big story leading up to this match. Richard had successfully defended the ROH World Title against his former tag partner Eddie Edwards and Roderick Strong in the three-way match the night before. There was a lot of hype going in this match because they both had history together. If there was one word I can use to describe this match, it would be absolutely brutal. These guys went at it and destroyed each other. It was a nonstop brutal bomb fest is like a lot of the notes I was seeing said about it. But if you watch it, you know what they're talking about. These guys were stiff, snug and stiff, as the two bad Chads say. Both wrestlers went from 0 to 100 and never really slowed down. And I think it showcased the two of them in a good way. And a lot of times we talk about Ring of Honor and we think about like the big names like CM Punk and we think about Bryan Danielson, AJ Styles, even, a guy like Tyler Black, Seth Rollins. But on the backs of the recent years of Ring of Honor, and 10 years ago is a long time, but not that long ago, Ring of Honor existed and thrived for a bit without other names that went on to do bigger, better things. And Davey Richards is a very talented guy. Michael Elgin is a very talented guy, but they didn't go on to be the big stars that we were seeing in the business elsewhere. But their work rate, they kept up that level of work rate, and the matches were just as quality. A lot of people tuned out of Ring of Honor in the later years, and we saw the product of that when they couldn't take that next step that AEW eventually took. But I think the quality of matches never really dipped at all. And I think this will be a huge part of people opening up their eyes when they get a streaming service. You have access to matches like these. It may bring like a renaissance for a guy like Michael Elgin or even like a Davey Richards. People like, holy crap, that guy was really good and is still very, very good.
Yeah.
So really good match. I'm a huge guy that loves matches of that are stiff and they have the ability to make you believe it's real. So this had it all. And, I love guys that work that stiff style, snug and stiff, as they say in the tavern. But this represented Ring of Honor to a T for me. And when I watched it, I was blown away, especially by Michael Elgin. I really had no preconceived notion of who he was, but I walked out thinking he was the star here. So pretty cool.
That's good, man. Listen, both gentlemen are phenomenal in ring workers, and snug and stiff is a minimum of what you could say about them. And they went on to do big things, just not, they weren't at the WrestleManias and stuff like that. I think this was a fantastic, strong style, pure ass Ring of Honor wrestling match. And they were running this match for a while on their like circuit tours, because they would play like the Chicago Fieldhouse here. And I went to one of the shows and I seen it and I was like, oh shit. And I think it was before this match actually, but they were like, as you do, you practice your steps and you work your routines, and it was still beautiful then. And it was still beautiful when they did it on fucking TV. I love it.
I can't wait to go back on a streaming service where they have all this catalog where you can just binge it. Because right now, as we're doing that, it was going to make it easy for us doing the Honor Society, but it's just so good when you can actually go back and be like, oh, let me just find this guy's whole plethora of what he did there. Because people forget who actually did time in Ring of Honor. There's a lot of guys that had tenures there that you did not even realize that they worked there.
Yeah.
The list is endless of those guys.
I haven't seen a lot of the matches on the honorable mentions list, and I don't know, David Richards or Elgin as well. I don't know those names, so it's making me want to go back. And if only there was a streaming service go back and look at Ring of Honor's library, that'd be cool.
Tony, open up the doors, man. We got to.
So in lieu of a streaming service, you guys have the Discord. We post the links in there. Go to the Honor Society channel. We post it there. We'll even stream it for you guys sometimes. So go and check it out. It's a good time. Make sure you guys join the Discord. But yeah, we'll hype that in a second. But let's get our final handshakes in, guys. All right, so at this point of the night, we're going to be doing just final wrap-up of, getting your shit in. But just to let you guys know, next week's show will be on May 5th, 2022. And we'll be talking about the latest news in Ring of Honor and Ring of Honor history. Maybe we'll have streaming service news to present to you guys. But we'll obviously be talking about history to fill in the gaps and have great conversation to go with it. I just want to thank the two of you guys so much for coming aboard here and filling in for Sneed and FREEMZ. We miss you guys, Sneed and FREEMZ, but if we ever need two other guys, or you guys are welcome anytime to come on here and talk Ring of Honor.
Hell yeah.
I talk regardless whether people like it or not. Dude, even my girlfriend's like, Dude, you talk in your sleep and we have full-on conversations while you're dead asleep. so I can't stop talking. So it's one thing I'm good at, thankfully. But dude, always a fucking pleasure. Like, especially with names like Acefield Retro and Mike effing Bellcaster. I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna be watching, and I'm gonna be eventually in here talking about Ring of Honor with you guys. I may not be well versed in Ring of Honor terms or the history, but it's always a fun time because I get to hear it from your guys' mouth, and I think that's what's the most fun about it for me. So,
Nick, where can they find you on social media, and tell them about your special code on Ringside Collectibles?
Oh, of course. Well, you can find me at Nick Storm Review. That's on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the freaking social medias. I even have a new freaking shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees/Tavern. It's the Thunder from Down Under. There you go. Along with the I'm a Mike Bellcaster guy. I need that shirt. I ordered the Nick Storm shirt because I'm a mark for myself, obviously. That'll be coming here shortly. But yeah, need to get that Mike Bellcaster guy shirt as well. Obviously, you can find the Ace of the Tavern. You can find President Sneed. You can find the Honor Society shirts. All this and more at ProWrestlingTees.com/tavern. But other than that, you can find me, social media, Nick Storm Review everywhere, YouTube. If you like wrestling content, if you like wrestling figure content, and if you like wrestling figure content, you're going to love Ringside Collectibles. Use code ICON, that is ICON, for 10% off your purchases at Ringside Collectibles. And also, use code TAVERN as well if you want.
Yeah, order do 2 separate orders. Make it happen.
Yeah,
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Mike Bellcaster, where can they find you on, first of all, Turnbuckle Tavern and social media? You are all over the place, my friend.
My goodness, I am all over the place. I think this is like my 10th podcast in the last 7 days.
Oh my God.
But I'm here for it, and this is what life's all about.
Outwork everyone, man.
Yeah. Hold on, let me do the. You could absolutely find me anywhere with a little asterisk and just put Mike Bellcaster afterwards. I promise you I'll pop up. Berwyn Championship Wrestling once a month. We're taking our next month is our last show, May 21st, before we take a little hiatus over the summer because it's hot in Chicago and we don't play those games. And yeah, who knows, man? I might be popping up all over the place, everywhere, always, all the time. But at Mike Bellcaster, turnbuckletavern.com. Go to the turnbuckletavern.com where you can find all your Turnbuckle Tavern needs. You could like this podcast. You could watch the fucking GCW show Mondays. Me and the One Bad Chad. We got Fig Night on Tuesdays with Nick Storm, myself, the OG Fig Kid, the beautiful, lovely gentleman at the Raw Down are fantastic. I'm also on the AEW Wrap-Up Wednesdays. Always a good time. We just do a small little breakdown of our top 3 matches or moments for the night. We got a match of the week, which extends the Rampage, and we go through the news. It's a fun time. Honor Society. I'm an honored guest to be part of the Honor Society. I was given handshakes and hand things all day long. And then Friday. True? Yes, absolutely. And then Friday you got not only the shot of nostalgia, but you also catch me on the audio feed for Turnbuckle Sessions. So make sure you are just a fan of the tavern. High fives, hugs, leave a review. I got stickers, Ace's stickers. Nick Storm is just a lovely gentleman.
I am a sticker
for
if you will.
You're my sticker.
I'm the sticker of the tavern. I show up everywhere, and I'm not wanted.
Put it on my back. So. I love it.
Well, guys, I've been Acefield Retro. You guys can find me at Acefield Retro on Instagram. You can find me also Shot of Nostalgia, Acefield Retro. My own podcast where I do a Dynamite review. Thank you, Nick Storm, for being on there last night, filling in. Nick Comic there could find you. He was in the chat. You can also find me on some other shows. I'll be on the Raw Down defending my Raw Down championship on Tuesday.
Ooh, brother.
The Turnbuckle Tavern is where to be, guys. I mean, I'm telling you guys, you are seeing something very special. We're about to see the 100th episode of the flagship happening.
Wow.
So make sure you guys recognize that. They had the 99th episode, which was amazing. Go check out the audio that dropped today. An absolute great show by the Two Bad Chads. Make sure you guys check that out. But we'll be back next week. So I really appreciate you guys watching. You guys are amazing. I've been the Ace. And the Ace is the place where you can find all your wrestling news. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Everything Turnbuckle Tavern. Hit the like button. There was about 15 people in here. I want to see 15 goddamn likes on here. Love you all. Abide by the code of honor.